Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA podcast. I'm your host, André Natera. On today's episode, my guest is Alex Gonzalez. Alex is a service professional. We worked together for many years. He's a good friend. He's worked at some incredible restaurants, including being part of the Alinea group, the French Laundry, Key, Garrison, and a lot of others. He is the best when it comes to service, at least the best that I know. On top of that, he's an outstanding artist. In this episode, we talk everything from art to creating memories in the dining room and what makes an incredible dining experience. I think you'll really enjoy this one. Stay tuned. Is that you got a little? You only have a couple of grays. I got more grays than you. What do you got, just for men in there?
They're coming in, man. They're coming in. I'm like, it's coming in. They're coming in pretty good for me.
You gotta go to Turkey. Have you seen these people on Turkey, like the side by sides?
No.
Oh, it's crazy. So there's like these Turkish plastic surgeons, and they like all these dudes and women go to Turkey and they get all the plastic surgery, the hair plugs and all that, right? And so like they'll do side by side, and one guy is going in looking like, the 60-year-old guy working behind the deli counter, and he's coming back looking like Tony Stark.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know if it's real or not, but it's wild. Like I went on a whole. I went down the rabbit hole on Twitter looking at all these Turkish plastic surgeons. Soon, man, you never know. Like the hair's starting to thin. I got to start wearing baseball caps.
Got it. Yeah, look at me and you both. We both got the caps on.
Yeah. Shit. Anyway, it's good to see you, man. It's been too long. For people that are listening that don't know, you and I used to work together. We opened up Garrison together, which is one of the better restaurants in Austin. You've gone on and done amazing things. You're always doing amazing things. And I'm going to share a story for the audience for context. I used to work with your wife, Alice, phenomenal chef as well. And she was doing a pop-up. And I was her assistant that day. So I was her sous chef. I was helping her out for whatever she was doing in the kitchen. And you were running the service team. Yeah. And I remember that's the first time you and I had met. So this was like, maybe 2015, 2014-ish?
Probably around that time, yeah.
And I remember watching you in the dining room. And I said, this guy's good. To this day, I will say that I've never, no offense to anyone that I've ever worked with that's listening, but I've never worked with anyone better than you with service, and that understands how to run a smooth service and is just polished. So anyway, for context, starting out with that. So while we're starting out with service, but also you're a phenomenal artist. So we could talk about service, but we could also talk about art. And I also want to talk about how they weave together a little bit. You're an amazing artist. I have 2 pieces of your art in my house. I wanted 3. I lost 1. I lost 1 to someone else.
I got the third for you. Don't worry about it.
But you're in the museum now, right?
I had a showing.
Yeah,
I had a showing at the International Museum of Surgical Sciences in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's right off Michigan Avenue. It's a smaller museum, and a lot of my work has to do with like anatomy and the body and those sorts of images. Did a bunch of art in my studio. Alice had gone to that museum during the summer. Took our son just for kind of a summer activity, right? Kids are out of school and gotta keep them busy. And so that was one of the activities that they had gone to. And when she came back from that, she had told me, your stuff is perfect for this museum. You should try to get in there. And, I was a little hesitant just because, the confidence wasn't very high.
Yeah.
And so I was just really hesitant, kind of put it off for a while. And then one day I just sent my stuff in and said I'd give it a shot and see what happens. And they reached back out. So we'd love to have your work. It's a perfect fit for us and what we're trying to do with the museum. And so I had a run at that museum. I think I was in there for about 2 or 3 months. Yeah. I was in there for. So I had my own little exhibit there with my work hanging there. And it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a cool experience. Congratulations. I love the style of art that you do. It's really detailed. It's really interesting. It's very unique. Like I haven't seen it anywhere else. Did you get a lot of traction after that?
Some, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I got some interest. I got some people that were interested in stuff. I was able to sell a couple pieces as well. So, it was very fruitful,
Yeah.
right? And but most of all for me, I think the experience of, you know, going through that process, and then beyond that, right, like having to figure out how to curate the room, how you want them to be up on the wall, how you're pairing the pieces together,
Yeah.
how you want it to flow for your exhibit, and how you want people to take it all in. So that was a fun part of the process, and hanging them yourself, and it was just really cool.
One of the things that we did when we worked together, well, when I say we did, you did. I just took some of the credit, like if it was my idea, but it was your idea 100%. That's what you do when you're the chef. It's like, it was a good idea. It's mine now. Yeah. But you drew the dessert. So it was one of the cool things that we did in Garrison was the dessert menu was all hand drawn.
Yeah.
And then it was folded up. I want to say it was like an origami. It might be, yeah, it was like an origami, right? It was folded up.
Yeah, we had folded it into like an envelope, right? And like they can then open it up and see what the menu was. Yeah.
And what was really interesting about that is our dessert sales skyrocketed because of the artistic drawings of desserts. Because a lot of times when you're in a restaurant, you get the dessert menu and it's like, I'm not hungry. But this was cool sketches of everything, very artistically done with little lines explaining, okay, this is the meringue and this is the ice cream and this is the flavor of the ice cream.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super cool and unique. I had never seen it before, and it was something that the restaurant, I'm not sure if they still do it, but it was something that was done the entire time that I was there. Now, when you think about incorporating elements of art into the dining experience, and you obviously have been through some great restaurants, how have you personally incorporated it? Or is there something that you've seen with other people incorporating art into the dining room to incorporate it in service that's like, okay, that's pretty cool?
You know, that was like that particular situation. That was my first foray in like in incorporating art into service, with that dessert menu. You know, I think obviously art and food, both, you know, creative outlets. I think that they both go hand in hand. I've seen most of the things that I've seen are more so in the traditional sense of, you know, this painting I want in this part of the restaurant, this painting I want in this part of the restaurant, and having that play out a little bit, and kind of setting the mood for that room, if you will, which I've also had. I've been able to do that as well, right? I have about 6 pieces hanging at Alinea, and I was able to, with Chef Grant, to kind of help curate that as well. So that was another way of kind of incorporating art into service. But yeah, I mean, other ways that I've seen are, you know, what's the projection, right? Have you seen those?
No.
It's like there's a lot of like projection down onto tables. A little mini chef will come walking from the projection on the
really?
table onto the.
I didn't know that was real. I've seen little videos of that. I thought it was like, oh, this is just some AI shit.
I haven't dined at any of those places, but
Yeah.
I've seen it on the interwebs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't been fortunate enough, shall we say. I've kind of just stuck to the more traditional methods of putting some canvas on walls.
Do you think art inside restaurants makes a difference to the dining experience?
I think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does.
In what way?
It can also allow, if you have the right eye for it, not necessarily the right eye, but if you are looking for that as a guest, as a diner, for that immersive experience, the full experience, right? Like nowadays, you know, they're building restaurants and designing restaurants to you know, for Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, that is art unto itself, right? Trying to paint the perfect picture for the perfect mood for the perfect shot.
Right.
So that you can get all the likes and the thumbs up.
You want to have places in the restaurant where people could photograph themselves or they could take a photograph of the art in the restaurant as I was here.
Sure.
Right,
Yeah,
you recognize
yeah.
the art, so I was here. So, hopefully, while you're here, you get to go to Matt's new place. Matthew Peters has his new restaurant, Prelude.
Yeah.
Tons of art in there.
Yeah.
I think you would really love it. I mean, the place is honestly, it might be the most artistic restaurant I've ever seen in terms of the amount and quality of the art that is hanging in that building. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And then you should also go see Bacalar Gabe's place. He has a lot of Mexican art, and they're really cool too. So. I see that as something I see that as something cool that restaurants are doing when they do incorporate really good art, high quality. I think it totally adds to the experience. If you walk into a place and if you have, imagine they have a big Coons balloon right at the entrance or something like that. Like that would be cool. Everyone would want to take a photo with that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's clout for the restaurant and it's clout for the person taking the photo.
Yeah, I think I think it's extremely important, right?
Yeah.
I think that and art, right, meant to bring something out, meant to make you feel a certain kind of way, and I think that the right piece can speak volumes and can absolutely add to any dining experience out there for sure.
What do you think about, and I'm just thinking this through, but like a lot of chefs consider themselves artists, a lot of chefs consider themselves craftsmen. My expression is artist or craftsman, I don't care, just make it taste good. Call yourself whatever you want. Are you an artist? Just make it taste good. That's all I care about. But a lot of chefs are truly artists. Like they could have easily gone into that direction.
Sure.
Like if they have that artistic talent, and you see how their sauce work goes, or how they design plates, or how easy it is for them to create something aesthetically pleasing. Where other chefs is like, okay, it tastes good, but you can't make it wouldn't look good to save their life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, where do you fall on that line? Are they artists, craftsmen, or is it like I said, call yourself whatever you want and make it taste good?
Oh, that's a good question.
As an artist, like I'm just curious what your perspective is.
I mean, I would absolutely say that it's a form of art and craft, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it's multifaceted. I don't think that there's one catch-all for that, right? I've worked with some really amazing chefs in my years, including yourself, right? And I think that from my experience, the chefs that I've seen be the most successful have been chefs that are also multifaceted in many different ways, right? A lot of chefs are really great artists too.
Right.
I've been fortunate enough to work with some that they're very visual, right? And most chefs, I think, are used to kind of getting the big legal pad, sketching out a dish, from their head and what they're imagining, and some of those sketches are amazing.
Right.
Right. Which is where I got the idea for the dessert menu at Garrison's. It's years of seeing chefs sketch on the big yellow pad, sketching on the walls at the restaurant, right in the kitchen, like all of that. I think that chefs are creatives.
Yeah.
I think that they're craftsmen. They're multifaceted, and there's no one catch-all. I think that it's a really hard thing to be a really great chef.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to become one. I don't know that there's just one term for that.
I want to ask you this because it's something that came up in a conversation separately. Is I use a lot of AI, and I use a lot of AI to generate images for Chef's PSA, so I could put a meme up or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better with it, right? So the more I mess with it, the better the end product is. I'm very efficient at creating AI generated images. I wouldn't consider it art because, like, I'm better with prompts than I am with a pen of drawing it, if that makes sense. Like
Sure.
I could never draw that, but I could create it digitally.
Sure.
So I know a lot of people have come to me and said, you're taking from artists, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm not, because I was never going to pay an artist to make a meme for me.
Yeah.
Right. I would hire an artist like yourself. I would buy your art and put it in my house, which
Right.
I have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put my meme on the wall in my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So What is your perspective right now, like as an artist? Where do you fall on the whole AI generated content, AI generated images?
I say go for it.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't know that I don't know that it would ever take the place of an original piece from an artist that you're a fan of, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that that will ever take the place of that. I think that it's, I think that it could be a really great creative outlet. I think for a lot of people that maybe wish that they could paint or draw or sketch or be that sort of visual artist, I think it's a really great way for them to kind of take a peek into that world and have those prompts and do that and create. But I don't know, and I think it's great if you enjoy doing that, that's amazing, and you should continue. But I don't know that it'll ever take the place of, seeking out an artist. I really love this person. I wanna save a couple bucks and get an original piece that I fell in love with and have that in your house and feel it and touch it and have that kind of tactile experience as well. And I think that's really important.
One of the things that makes the properties of money, right, is fungibility, meaning you could exchange it like for like. So $1 is $1, whether it's wrinkled or not. Scarcity, so a limited number. And then, so fungibility, scarceability, saleability over time and space. So apples are a poor example of money because they would start to rot before they ever got across the ocean. So that's why gold is great money, because over time, it's still going to look as good as it did 1,000 years ago, right? And it has to be scarce, meaning there's not a lot of gold. You got to work for it. You got to mine it. And because you got to mine gold, that's what makes it valuable. If there was gold in abundance, gold wouldn't be valuable. Those properties of money apply to art as well. And they don't apply to digital art, because that digital piece of art requires very little work to create. I mean, it's a matter of putting in a prompt in an AI generator, whether you're talking DALL-E or Midjourney or something like that. I could create it in a second.
Right.
Not only can I create it, anyone else that knows how to create a prompt can create it within seconds.
Right.
So it loses its value. The amount of work that you put into a piece, that is true effort into something, and it's one of a kind. So it has that scarcity. It has the same saleability. I mean, assuming it's treated properly and it's restored, etc. And it's coming from a human, an individual's creative thoughts, in this case yours. And that's what I think makes art valuable, as opposed to digital art. To your point, what you were talking about early, is that I think digital art, yes, it looks good and it's great for memes and things like that on social media or YouTube and all that, but it's never going to replace the value that's attached to real art, like what you create. That's just my 2 cents.
No, yeah, that's fair point. You want to be my art manager?
Yeah.
My art agent?
Let me get that piece from Alinea.
Done deal. Let's make this happen. Let's go.
Yeah, shit. It's too funny. Anyway, where were we? We got off subject. We digress. I want to tie art into service, and then kind of start going down that direction. You've worked in some great restaurants. No sense in naming all of them, but you've worked in the cream of the crop restaurants in the United States. Restaurants that are known for having exceptional service. In your mind, having been in those 3 Michelin star restaurants, what is exceptional service and how do you define it? And maybe luxury service, exceptional, like all of that together.
I think probably the most important characteristic there are a couple, right? I don't want to say that one is better than the other, but I think that in order to have that sort of level, there needs to be a couple of different things that are kind of non-negotiables, if you will, when it comes to that. I think that there needs to be a sense of it has to be and feel seamless. Right. It has to flow beautifully, has to flow naturally. And there can't be any start stops with it. It should feel seamless. Great service feels seamless, effortless, easy. There needs to be a sense of authenticity, I think is really important, from a service team. There needs to be a genuine kind of a genuine feel to what connections you're making with your guests. You just got to be on point,
Right.
right? You just got to be on point.
So everything that you kind of talked about is kind of big picture, big concepts. But if you want to identify some tangible things, like when you're in the dining room and you're walking through and you're coaching your staff and you have your Hawkeye on to make sure everything is correct.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you're looking for when you're walking in the dining room?
I want to make sure that my team's having fun.
Yeah.
I think if the team is having fun, if the team is smiling, right, that you're a quarter of the way there, right? In my opinion, I think if you're most of the other things, I think happen behind the scenes. I think with training, right, coaching, your mentoring.
Yeah.
I think those are all really big key factors in having a strong team. You want to make sure that they're prepared, right? But I think in service, in the middle of the big push, in the middle of the rush, you got double sat, you know, you need a wine pairing down on this table. I think a smile will carry you a lot of the way there. And I think if the team is happy, if the team is enjoying themselves, if they're having fun at work, right, in a responsible sense, right, then I think that you're a quarter of the way there, right? Outside of that, you know, making sure that they have what they need for success, right? Having the tools that they need, that things are, you know, that light bulbs are working and functional, that the music is going well, right? Like all of those small little things. But from service team, you know, I think it's a lot of prep heavy stuff, right? You gotta prepare behind the scenes in order to be successful at showtime, so that when showtime happens, it's seamless, it's genuine, it's authentic, and that the team has what they need to be successful in their own point. Right. So I don't know that necessarily answered your question.
No.
But I think I'm thinking more theory with that answer.
Usually when you get someone new, so let's say you get a new service team member and you're starting them, let's assume they're starting at zero.
Yeah. Which I love, by the way.
You were talking about authenticity.
Yeah.
So when a new server starts and they're 21 years old and you say be authentic and they don't even know who they are yet.
Yeah.
Right. So that authenticity hasn't really kicked in.
Yeah.
How do you coach them to find that authentic voice within themselves?
What I like to do is I like to get in conversation with that new team member, right? I like to just off the cuff, and we're setting up and they've come in. I'd like to, you know, just ask them how they're doing. What do you like to do? What music do you listen to? Do you want to pick the music that's going on right now? Kind of open them up, get them a little bit comfortable. I think when you know it's already a stressful situation, you're starting at a new job, you don't really know what's happening, you're in this restaurant, XY, all the other factors, right? And then you compile life and what's going on in your personal life, and it just can be a lot. So I think disarming that, making a connection with that team member, I think gets them to a kind of comfortable spot, right? Finding out what they like, finding out what they enjoy doing, and then that consistent mentoring, right? It's all about mentoring. Crack a joke with them, let them know that you know they're human, they're gonna make mistakes. That's okay. We just have to be ready to learn from those mistakes, correct it, right? Understand why that mistake happens, and then let's move on, right? And like it's gonna be okay. It's not the end of the world. I always tell staff members when they get to that point of just being so nervous that they're frozen. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, we're just serving food and we're pouring juice. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
Right. That's it.
We're fermented juice.
Yeah. It just happens to be fermented.
Yeah.
It just happens to be kind of expensive. But when you boil things down, we're just serving food. We're just serving juice. Like we're telling a couple stories along the way.
Yeah, and we're making them feel like they're at home. Yeah. Like make them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Like that should be the mantra of like at every restaurant. Like just don't fucking make it weird.
Just stop making things weird.
From a guest standpoint, how do you go about creating an environment when the guest walks in that they feel welcome and that they feel like I'm in for a great experience tonight? Like, what are some of those things that you put in place to make sure that that happens? And what do you think some things that restaurants need to do? Like, what are some things that, so for the restaurant managers listening and for the chefs that are curating their restaurant programs right now, what are some things that you think should be in those restaurants to create that warm, hospitable space?
Smile, right? That's a smile is one of those tools that is underutilized.
Right.
I think. Right? Everyone wants to, sometimes be a little too serious and a little too. I am a robot.
Right.
Right? Relax. Smile. A nice, warm, genuine smile works magic. Right. Eye contact is also a really big one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if you're walking into a restaurant, there's nothing worse than, usually the first person you're coming into contact with is a host of
Right.
some sort, whether that's a host proper or a maitre d' or the manager is stepping in for somebody, but whoever's that person at your front door, they should be able to smile. They should be able to make some eye contact. They should have the wherewithal to know that, like, if this is a reservation, if you're working at a reservation only sort of restaurant, you most likely know the name of that guest, right?
Right.
And you should be cued into that. Like, using someone's name without having them introduce themselves is
Everyone loves hearing their name.
everybody loves that recognition,
Yeah.
and everybody will be immediately upon the meal, before the meal even starts, right? You use a name, you get that name right? That their minds are blown.
One of the tactics that I teach people, whether you're in a job interview or, whenever you meet someone for the first time, I always say, try to use their name twice within the first 60 seconds. Because no sound is sweeter to an individual than their own name, usually, right? So I always tell them, shake their hand, say their name, sit down, hey, Alex, good to see you. Hey, Alex, do you mind if I have a seat? So I've used it twice within the first 60 seconds. And you'd be surprised how much, you probably wouldn't be surprised, you know this, but people are surprised at how big of a difference that makes in someone liking you or not if you know their name and you use their name.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's another skill,
Yeah.
right? It's just another skill. I'm always amazed someone remembers my name from years ago, and hey, yeah, and it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing underutilized tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. When you think about the dining experiences that you've had, can you think of a time that you've received exceptional service, and what did that look like?
I've been fortunate. I've had a lot of great meals in my life. I think, case in point, circling back a little bit to what we were just talking about, and bringing it full circle with name and recognition and just that sort of that little bit of experience there, right? My wife and I were going to Per Se, and it was our first time there, making the trip to pay our respects, if you will, going to Mecca, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And we, at that time, there's not a lot of places that there's not a lot of places now or people in the industry now that kind of do this, but back then it was very common. If you were industry, you would bring a case of beer,
Sure.
a bottle of bourbon, a bottle of champagne for the kitchen,
Yep.
for the staff to, say thank you, right? And so it was our first time there. We were coming from Chicago, both working at Alinea, so we wanted we wanted to continue that tradition, if you will, and so we were waiting for the doors to open. Per se, I think we had an early reservation, one of the first ones, and The door opens. There's a couple of other people that are waiting with us in like their little wait area in the front, if you've ever been there. And we were sitting down, and one of the hosts came straight. And I mean, the first time I've seen this person, right, there was no kind of peeks through the little glass to see who's just, the door opens. They immediately walk over to us. I don't know why us, but they were like, Mr. and Mrs. Gonzalez, we would love to welcome you into the restaurant if you want to come and follow me. That was
They knew who you were.
They immediately.
Yeah.
And my jaw must have been on the floor, because I was like, how did you, and I asked though, like, how did you know? How did you do that? What, please tell me.
Right.
Like, teach me, please.
Yep.
And I mean, that whole meal was just amazing. It was great. You know, the anticipatory service that they gave us that night was just otherworldly. It was really cool. And it all started with just them using my name and taking it. Maybe it was a stab in the dark and she got lucky. But yeah, that it just started. It started.
What did that happen? No, over here.
Yeah, I mean,
over here.
I was like, man, that's a bold move, but it worked out, and it made a huge impression on me.
Yeah.
Right, and it's still to this day, years later, I'm still just like,
And it's funny how something like that, like just recognizing, it cost them nothing.
nothing.
Nothing. Cost them nothing. And you're telling this story on a podcast that millions of people listen to.
Millions.
Maybe billions.
I love that.
But I think about one of the best dining experiences I've had. It's very similar because it cost them 25 cents. And I was eating at Spiaggia in Chicago.
Okay.
And there was 4 of us, and all of us are chefs. And it's dessert course. And we ordered the ice cream sampler. There's like 4 little scoops of ice cream on a really pretty glass tray or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the flavor was. For the sake of conversation, it's pistachio. And we're all digging into the pistachio, and everyone's like, that's so good. And we're all digging into the pistachio. We haven't even tried the other 3 flavors on the sorbet sampler, on the ice cream sampler. And as soon as we were done with that one scoop, the server came around and said, I noticed you really enjoyed that pistachio. I brought you another scoop. And I'm thinking, first of all, that was fast. Like, we couldn't even finish one little scoop before they had already done it. And our minds were blown because we were saying, that's so good. That's so good. That one's really good.
Yeah.
What did that cost them? 25 cents for the ice cream scoop, if that?
Maybe. Yeah.
And I'm still telling the story to the billions of listeners.
Billions.
To the billions.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love those moments like that. Right? And I love curating those sorts of moments as well. Like, it's always, that's when it gets really fun and really exciting, when you can hear something that a guest or diner is saying, and you have the means to be able to make something happen on the fly like that.
Yeah.
It blows minds. It just feels good too.
Yeah, it does.
Like, it feels great for me. It makes them happy. They get a memory. I get a memory. I get my endorphin rush, right?
Yeah.
And it's just,
You feel important. You feel special.
Yeah,
right?
it feel heard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, and you've then given all parties involved an opportunity to like have a story to be able to tell on a podcast where billions of people are watching.
Billions. Wizard behind the curtain for people that aren't at a place where they could know your face when you walk in, or put that scoop of ice cream down before you even ask for it. If you had to create a training program for your staff, what would be, like, just really high level, what would be the steps of service to, like, okay, we're going to Google them, we're going to look at their face, we're going to know who they are. Like, what is a trick? I don't want to say a trick, that's probably a bad word, but what is something behind the scenes do that high-end restaurants do that people don't realize that they do?
Exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
Google's a great tool.
Yeah.
Googling people. I think it's now getting a little harder to suss out who's who exactly.
Yeah.
But Google is a great tool that I know of, every restaurant that I've worked at uses. as a way to gather information, right? And so far as to like image search, you get a photo of them, you recognize them when they come in, you read as much as you can about them in the capacity that you have. You take your notes, and then you have 4 or 5 things that you have as talking points for this guest that can then you'll bring up naturally in conversation, and there's your in,
Yeah.
and their minds are blown.
So do you have like the reservation list, and someone on staff is just Googling everyone, who they are, what they do? Is there any special touches we could give for them? Anything that we could find out online, basically?
Yeah, pretty much. And then going over their guest notes. A lot of people don't realize. Well, maybe they do now.
So this is all discussed in pre-service, like a pre-shift meeting of some sort.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have figured this out now, but restaurants keep a history on all their guests, right? Those that
At least the good ones do, right?
at least the good ones do. They'll keep a little history. They'll know they should know your likes, your dislikes, your water preferences. If you're left-handed, right-handed, what wine.
What
you've
if they're
had,
left-handed? What do you do?
Then there are different touches that you can do there, right? If you notice someone's left-handed, or if you know that they are left-handed, you automatically mark their silverware to their dominant hand.
Yeah.
Right? When certain courses only have one piece of silverware that you need, right? And so if you have that sort of situation, you're marking to the correct side. You're moving water glasses, wine glasses, any service pieces that are one-offs that are very direction specific with how to set it down, right?
Yeah.
Orientate everything to the left for that guest. But yeah, I mean, restaurants should be utilizing that tool to kind of keep notes so that they can be prepared for the next time.
Right.
Hopefully that guest comes.
Have you ever melted anyone's brain? And what I mean by that is, like, they came in and they're like, "You're a fucking wizard. How did you do that?" Like the French Laundry story, the per se story that you just shared.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a moment, which I'm sure you have, but where they're like, "How did you do that?" Explain that. Like they're just in tears almost because of how impacted they were by some sort of service gesture that you did.
Yeah. So was working service.
Yeah.
Tasting menu restaurant, in service, had these guests that were from out of town.
Right.
And they were just in for a finite amount of time. They were talking about all the things that they've done so far and all the things that they still have to do. Right. And obviously they were going to this particular restaurant. They're very much into food and enjoyed food and travel for food, essentially. They were talking about a hot dog, and that they still haven't gotten a Chicago style hot dog, and which in my opinion is the best hot dog in the world, best kind of hot dog in the world, Chicago style.
What is the Chicago hot dog like? Not what's on it, but what kind? Is it like Nathan's? Like the meat itself? Is there like a standard Chicago hot dog has to be this? Vienna. That's right. Yeah. Vienna beef. Yeah.
But they were talking about a hot dog, and they were in the middle of their tasting menu. It was 8 or 9 courses, I think, doing the wine pairings, the whole thing, and just casually mentioning that, like, we haven't done a hot dog yet. Like, oh my God, like we got to put that on the list. Something we have to do.
Right.
So I overheard it, and got with who my director of operations, who happened to be in the restaurant as well,
Right.
that night, who was helping out with service, told him, and then between the two of us, we Ubered. There were 4 top. We Ubered 4 hot dogs and fries,
Right.
And I think just hot dogs and fries from Portillo's.
Yeah.
And we
That's the
snuck
standard,
it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's the standard,
snuck it in the kitchen. Downloaded the chef on what was happening, and he unwrapped them, cut them, plated them up on proper plates, the whole 9 yards, and then we gave him an extra course of hot dogs, of a Chicago style hot dog, and then we paired it with a Coke. Right, we went out, got Cokes, put them in these kind of like ceramic solo cups
that's
that we
cool.
had,
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
we poured the pairing for them. They were looking kind of weird, like what is this? We brought hot dogs down, put them on the table, all plated up in front of each guest, and like they immediately were like, "What the? How did? What are you? This is crazy!" And they had a good laugh over it. We had a good laugh. Everyone was smiling, and they were like, "That I don't know how you guys just did that, but that was amazing." So
So David Breeden, who's chef at French Laundry, you know him.
yeah,
I follow him on Instagram, and so today he posted, the guy from Chef Reactions, that he does like side by side videos of like critiquing someone making like something terrible. Oh, this can be terrible.
I don't I might not have seen that guy, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So he was at French Laundry eating, and I guess Chef David created like a 7-layer dip, but like soigné.
Yeah.
And so it's funny. So, and his mind was blown. And so not only did he tag him, and then he tagged the original creator of the terrible 7-layer dip.
Yeah.
So like, they were all like, oh my God, but I see stuff like that. And it's like, it's those little things, knowing that like, wow, that's a personal touch.
Yeah.
One thing that, I don't want to say we used to get into arguments over, because we weren't arguing. I agreed with you. I just didn't have a solution. Is this happy birthday thing? It's like, there's nothing worse than a happy birthday plate. Like, it's someone's a happy birthday, happy anniversary. Let's just put chocolate on a white plate. Happy,
On the rim.
happy anniversary. Write it really pretty or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I hate it too, but I'm not a chef anymore, so I don't gotta worry about it. But did you ever find a solution for that? Like, what's the best way to celebrate someone's happy birthday besides putting chocolate on a plate?
It's
What's the better option, chef?
people love a candle in their cakes. You know, they want a show. They want a show. And as dreadful as it is for us sometimes, that we have to, field these requests of, can you write happy birthday on a plate? And it's important to people.
Yeah.
It's important to some people, and that's their thing. And sometimes you gotta go
Chocolate on a plate.
swallow it down and just go,
Happy birthday on a plate.
happy birthday. Or if you're not willing to do the happy birthday, you got to find another solution, right? And so whether that's a splash of champagne, a cocktail from XYZ place, whatever it may be. But I haven't yet found a great solution.
There's not one out there that you could point to and say, wow, that's a great happy birthday thing. Like,
Yeah.
they figured it out.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a restaurant that's really figured out the happy birthday thing, besides the obvious card, happy birthday on a plate,
Yeah.
candle, like besides the
Yeah.
basics.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone, and if they have it, hopefully they'll comment on the podcast or
please
send me a
do,
DM.
'cause
Like, what's the solution?
Yeah, please do, because I will tell you right now, if it's good, I will steal it.
Yeah.
And I won't claim it as my own, but I will steal it and use it.
I'm gonna
I would
claim
love-
it as well. I'm gonna block you and take your idea.
Yeah, no solution yet though. But yeah, that's gonna plague me, I think, for a long time.
And not just you, everybody. Like, it's no, I haven't seen a good solution. Anyway, last question. The podcast is Chef's PSA. If you had a Chef's PSA out there, but for service, this is a 2-part question. For service, like, what is that one thing that you want service team members to stop doing or start doing? That's question part 1. And then question part 2, chefs and managers sometimes don't see eye to eye. If you could improve the relationship between manager and chef, service team manager and chef, what would that PSA be?
I don't know that I have.
You don't have one of those pet peeves that, like, when you see it, it like drives you crazy?
I mean, I bet, yes, I do have them, but
That's what I want. That's what I'm asking.
and
I tried to sound sophisticated asking it, but that's what I'm asking.
and anyone who's worked with me will tell you, yeah, he's got some pet peeves for sure.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, it's been a little bit since I've had to work a dining room, so I don't quite know. No, one that I will say that is a bit of a peeve. The long-winded, 4-minute description of a course, or the long-windedness of anything,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's a greet or a description or with being able to read the table,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing worse, I think, in for me when I go somewhere and it might be my first time and they ask, "Is it your first time with us?" And I say yes. And well, let me tell you about our menu.
We have food.
And then they list and talk about every single thing on the menu, line by line, and you're just like, my skin is starting to I can
You can figure it out.
I've
been to a restaurant before.
Maybe, yeah.
Like I've never been here, but
maybe
I've eaten food and I've been
Yeah.
to restaurants.
unless something's super unique, right?
Yeah.
And something, you're doing something completely different with like the ordering process or something, then like, sure, yeah, please tell me. But like, you don't need to tell me that the fries are made of potatoes. I think I got that one.
Yeah.
And one thing that I would love to see more of from front of house is maybe one piece of advice that I can give is to be hungry. Be hungry. Like be hungry for more knowledge. Be hungry to be better. Be hungry to be more efficient. To dial things in a little bit more. Always push for that extra. Too often I see people that are content, that are good at what they do, but they're content, and there's definitely a plateau. I urge people to keep looking for more, keep striving for more, keep striving to be better, faster, whatever it is that you need to work on, but have that hunger. It's super important. You have that hunger that can take you a long way, and I think it's super important.
One of if I'm going to take this opportunity because I don't often talk about it on the podcast, my pet peeve in a dining experience is, for me, there's nothing worse than when you're eating and the food is coming to the table and the server has their hands full, but they haven't made space on the table yet to put the food down, and they're like, can you? And you're like, yeah, sure. Let me rearrange and make space for you, so now you're nice and comfortable. It's like, and it's awkward. 'Cause, like, I don't want to be a jerk. It's not an inconvenience. I just think like, it's the mark to me of a good, polished server that they've anticipated that they're about to bring out the food.
Yeah.
Space has been made. Silverware's been dropped. Table's been marked. Now the food has a place to be sat. That's my pet peeve when I'm out eating, is I hate to have to rearrange the table for all the food that's coming.
Sure. Yeah.
Last question. So the other part to this was, how can the relationship between chef and service manager, general manager, how can that improve? And they're not all bad. Like I think when we worked together, I thought we had a great relationship. Yeah. I loved working with you. I would work with you again if I had a restaurant, which I don't, and I don't want one. But if I did and I wanted one, you'd be the first call I'd make. Literally, you would be the first call I'd make. So if investors are listening, that would be who I would call. But I've also worked with a lot of people that's like, I can't work with them and we don't get along.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've done the same. Mm-hmm. How do you build the relationship? Like, what is it that chefs don't understand about your role that would help us all come together better?
I don't know that it's necessarily a thing that they don't understand about the front of house aspect. I've been super fortunate where I've worked in really great places, and the chefs at those places they're well informed on what happens in the dining room. For me, I think it's finding that commonality. I think that's really important, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that if you find common ground with someone, then the guard is let go a
Right.
little bit, right? The ego and the big bravado and this is mine and you do you and I'll do this, and I think that goes away, right? If you can find some commonality in find traction.
Right.
with someone.
We both want to win. We're both on the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's understanding that a restaurant is a team sport,
Right.
right? Like,
Yeah.
Everybody on the team has to play nice, right? And we're all going for the same thing, and just understanding that, I think, really goes a long way. Actually communicating, right? Like actually talking to each other, finding some time. With everybody's busy in a restaurant. The chef and the GM super busy all the time, but carving out some time, carving out some space to just, whether that's 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you can do, just to catch up. Hey, how was your weekend?
Right.
How's the rest of the night last night? How, whatever it may be. How's I know that you had this thing going on with, whoever. How's that all pan out? Just have a conversation. I think a lot of that mitigates some of the tension and the push and pull between front and back, right? You're all one team.
Yeah. No, it's great. And I will say that, the time that you and I worked together, I don't know how long we worked together, for a few years. And in Garrison, and the chefs that were in Garrison, so Jason Purcell was the chef de cuisine at the time, and, Atticus, who was also in there, and Jordan, who's phenomenal. And I could look back fondly on that time and say that was, some of we were doing good things. And, man, it's always good to see you. And where can people find you? If they want to find you for the art, or if they just want to follow you to see the story?
Yeah, the art, I have an Instagram, which is eluding me at the moment.
Alexander Gonzalez _art, maybe.
.art, maybe. Yeah, Alexander Gonzalez .art.
I'll figure it out. I'll
send
put
it to you,
I'll put in the show. I'll put in the link.
Yeah, a link in the bio.
Yeah, I'll put it in somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, Instagram, and yeah, and in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I'm based in Chicago, so I'm there. Hopefully, we can run into each other and
Yeah, man, I need to come see you.
yeah.
Yeah, James Beard, right?
Yeah, I think that happened already.
Yeah, that's going on. Yeah. All right, man. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you, brother.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Alex. If you want to go follow him, I'll put his Instagram in the show notes. If you want to support the show, you know what to do. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure you leave 5 stars, nothing less than 5 stars. I appreciate it. It goes a long way. If you want to get the new book, Bad Cooks Everywhere, go to chefspsa.com. You can get that book, as well as all the other books that I've written. Also, Culinary Leadership Fundamentals audiobook is now available in Spanish. For those of you that were asking, it's now available. You can go download it now on Audible. Support the show, get a hat, get a book, like and subscribe. You know what to do. See you next week. Hit the porno music.
Yo, it's André in the kitchen, mixing, dropping chef knowledge, no fiction, stirring up the beats, heating up the session. Listen close, class is in session.